I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.
Okay, peoples, we're back on free will again. I just watched Burn Victim 77. I believe his name is Gary. I'm not sure. I would hope some clarification would come through with that. That would be you, Burn Victim 77. If you could let me know what your name is so I can address you by that. I just got done watching your second video about free will. And you left me a little confused because in the first video I watched, I was given the impression that you were, in fact, I won't say arguing for the idea of free will, but you were leaning in that direction. And then in this video, you kind of turned around a little bit, and you tried to go back on your word a little bit. Not so much, but enough to make me respond to it, I guess. Anyway, the basis that we're looking at here is where that consciousness lies. Does the consciousness have that ability to choose? And if it doesn't, then what does have the ability to choose? And I think that in your second video, excuse me, I kind of burped in that statement. In your second video, you kind of alluded to computers, and it's saying that almost that we're programming computers to be a lot like the human mind, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but to compare the two, we have to have a really deep perspective, and I think we don't have that perspective yet. I think we lack that perspective. I think we lack the concept of why we even invented computers in the first place. But I think that turns the direction of the conversation as well, from freedom of will, or even the concept of will, to creation, and to existence. Because what you're alluding to with the computer idea is, are the computers more existent than us? And I don't know if that's what you meant by it, but that's kind of what I got from it. And that might not be the case what you meant by it, but that's what I got from it. So I'm going to leave it at that, and you can respond to that. But as far as free will is concerned, I think it's very hard. It's very, very hard to try to put it into a capsule and swallow it, and say, hey, this is free will. This is exactly what it is. Now, take it. I think what we have to do is kind of get the dotted line around it, or the chalk line, and try to say, okay, these are the basics. These are what we think free will is, and then kind of dissect it from there, because the current basis and the past basis has been kind of diluted by these ideas that are false. And not false in the sense that they're based on fallacy, but false in the sense that they're ideological, where they have to rely on certain elements for it to be true. So what we need to do is take that out of the argument, is that they don't have to rely on anything to be true. What we need is them to be true no matter what. Okay, so I guess my first contribution has to be something along those lines, which is going to be difficult, because for something to be along those lines is difficult. But what I'm going to say is that we're born, okay? We're born with the body that we're born into. So we have fucking 5 fingers on each hand if we're lucky. 5 toes on each foot if we're lucky. And we have muscles and we have a tongue where we can speak from. Okay, so we use those elements to live our life. Of course, our language is going to be limited by our surroundings, our environment, as you pointed out. But I can still choose to learn another language from another environment if I so choose. So is that an element free will? I can choose to run faster than I was taught. Is that an element free will? I can choose to lift weights. I can choose to do a handstand that I was never taught. But if I choose to learn it, I can do it. So these elements and these type of situations that we encounter, they're kind of they're fundamental in a sense, yet they're you said superfluous or whatever that term is, where they're not necessary, but they're still fundamental because they're defining every element of ourselves. Because just like whenever we have a gene with a chromosome that stands out, just a single chromosome that stands out, it's going to define the whole nature of that organism. And I think that, in essence, defines us. That little choice, that little thing that stands out, that blister on our soul, if you want to choose it as that, it stands out. I think it's important that we choose these things. And I don't know if we're choosing them, because that's in debate, and I'm open to that debate. But I still think it's important that we question that fact. And I know that you think that. And that's why I'm even having this discussion with you, because you're obviously aware of that fact, that it's important to question it. But I think after the second video that I watched, you fall on the side that believes that it's not free will, in a sense, that something is guiding you to tell me these things. Is that true? And think long and hard about this. If it is not free will, what is it? Is something guiding you to post these things on YouTube? Other than moral standards, because you have moral standards in every situation. I have my moral situations that never made me post something on a camera like this, where I'm facing a camera that doesn't have lips, doesn't have a face, doesn't have a name, but I'm talking to it, and that, to me, that's an example of free will. Well, I've been poked and prodded enough, if you want to call it that, to do this. Maybe that's not free will. Maybe you can convince me otherwise. But as far as I'm concerned, it's free will that I'm even talking to you. And that's pretty interesting concept, if you ask me. That I can be swayed either way. And I have yet to be swayed either way. And I think that's cool, because I'm in the middle. I'm like a volleyball. So, the serve is yours, my man. I guess your name is Gary. I'm apologizing if I got that wrong, but Burn Victim 77, the volley is yours. And until next time, peace out.